Brethren, happy Sabbath to you all. Special welcome to our Tobago member. It's good to have Anne with us here today. Brethren, I want to begin this morning by playing part of a song by the boss, who is also called Bruce Springsteen, that some of you may be familiar with. So we'll go ahead and play part of it. Brethren, the name of that song is Born in the USA, and it's a satirical song about how veterans from the Vietnam War were treated after returning home. Now, some over the years have used it as a patriotic song because of its catchy chorus, and it has been used as an election song in some presidential election campaigns. In fact, it was used by President Ronald Reagan in his 1984 re-election campaign. Now, many people from various countries would love to be born in the USA and thus be a US citizen and enjoy the many blessings of living in America. And this is why so many leave their homeland and travel to the US to get resident status, either legally or illegally. Now, I have even heard of couples traveling to the US while the wife was pregnant so that their child could be born in America. Now, let me state at this point, I was not born in America. I was born right here in Trinidad and Tobago. And so many of you, if not all of us, all right? And I have here my birth certificate, which proves that I was born here in Trinidad, right? So I think most of us are familiar with our Trinidad and Tobago certificates. Now, while we were all born once, we need to be born again. Not physically, but spiritually. So let's go to John chapter 3, and let's read what Jesus said in verse 3. John chapter 3, verse 3. And a Pharisee named Nicodemus had asked him a question, and Jesus answered and said to him, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Nicodemus said to him, "How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born?" Jesus answered, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God." Now, Jesus here shows that to enter the kingdom of God, a person needs to be born again, to experience a second birth. In other words, to be born of water and the Spirit. The person must first be baptized and then experience the first resurrection and be changed to a spirit being. However, this second birth will occur in a particular place, not in the USA or in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what I want to focus on today, where this second birth will occur. So, brethren, in the sermonette this morning, I want to focus on where we will be born again. Now, the inspiration for the sermonette this morning came from a sermon entitled "The New Heavens and the New Earth," given by Mr. Bill Bradford, on the 8th day of the Feast of Tabernacles in Australia. And I encourage you to listen to it when you get the opportunity. Now, at the end of his sermon, he quoted a verse from a psalm that I had not focused on for quite a while. So let's go to that psalm now and see what it says. Psalm 87. And let's begin in verse 1. Psalm 87, verse 1. His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the blessings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to those who know me. Behold, O Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia, this one was born there. And of Zion it will be said, this one and that one were born in her. And the Most High himself shall establish her. The Lord will record when he registers the people, this one was born there. Now, Mr. Bradford focused on verses 5 and 6 in this psalm, and he emphasized that we are destined to be born in Zion. And that is what brings me to the title of the sermonette today, and that is Born in Zion. Now, what is Zion? What does it refer to? Well, Zion refers to the city of God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and it also refers to the church of God. So let's go to Hebrews chapter 12, where that is described. Hebrews chapter 12, and let's begin in verse 22. Verse 22. But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn who are registered in heaven, to God the judge of all, to the spirit of just men made perfect. Brethren, Zion will be the capital of the universe, and we are destined to be one of the original citizens of Zion. Now, I like how the Living Bible translates Psalm 87. So we look at that translation, and we'll put it up. Verse 1 of Psalm 87. High on his holy mountain stands Jerusalem, the city of God, the city he loves more than any other. O city of God, what wondrous tales are told of you. Nowadays, when I mention among my friends the names of Egypt and Babylonia, Philistia and Tyre, or even distant Ethiopia, someone boasts that he was born in one or another of those countries. But someday the highest honor will be to a native of Jerusalem. For the God above all gods will personally bless this city. When he registers her citizens, he will place a check mark beside the names of those who were born here. And in the festivals they'll sing, all my heart is in Jerusalem. Brethren, when God registers the citizens of the kingdom of God, we who are called now to be part of the first fruits of God will be recorded as being born in Zion. We will have a spiritual birth certificate that shows that we were born in Zion. And brethren, what a great honor and privilege it will be to be known as someone who was born in Zion. Now, this blessing will be reserved for those who are in the first resurrection, the firstborn from the dead. And do we appreciate what an honor and blessing it will be to be born in Zion? Now, the uniqueness of being the first to be born in Zion was emphasized by Mr. Bradford. And what he said was, this will only happen once in the history of the universe. It will not happen again. The marriage supper in heaven will only happen once. And only a certain number of people will be married to Jesus Christ, not an innumerable multitude. Only a certain number of places have been reserved for the first fruits, and we have been allotted one of those places. We have the opportunity to be born into the greatest kingdom that ever was or ever will be. Are we going to make use of this wonderful opportunity, or are we going to waste it? Now, Esau made the mistake of selling his physical birthright for one morsel of food. And we can read about that in Hebrews 12, verse 16. We must not make the same mistake as Esau and sell our spiritual birthright to be born in Zion. And as it says in Revelation 3, verse 11, don't let anyone steal our crown. Brethren, we are on a spiritual journey to the city of our second birth. And our focus should be on being born in the city God has chosen for us to be born in. Now, God chose the city of David for Jesus Christ to be born in when he came the first time. And God has chosen the city of the living God for us to be born in again. He desires that we be born in Zion. So in conclusion, brethren, Hebrews 11 contains a list of individuals who are waiting to be born in Zion. They spiritually left their homeland to travel to the kingdom of God and await their turn to be born in their new homeland. And Abraham set the example for all of us to follow. So I'd just like to review his example. So let's go to Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11, and let's begin in verse 8. Hebrews 11, verse 8. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance. And he went out, not knowing where he was going. By faith, he dwelt in the land of promise, as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. And let's drop down to verse 13. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For those who say such things declare plainly that they seek a homeland. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they came out, they would have had opportunity to return. but now they desire a better, that is, a heavenly country. Therefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. Brethren, God has prepared a city for us to be born in. And the name of that city is Zion. And that city is ready and waiting for us to be born in it. Now, the question for each one of us is, will we be ready to be born in Zion? Will we have grown and matured to the point that we are ready to be born again? Will God be able to record against our name and say, this one was born in Zion? Will we be able to say in the future, I was born in Zion?